The family of the late Chilean dictator Augusto Pinochet could receive $4.2 million in cash and assets frozen during a legal investigation. It follows a ruling by a Chilean appeals court to return the money and property seized from the family over a 2004 inquiry into a budget embezzlement affair known as the Riggs case. A probe was launched after Pinochet's secret U.S. bank accounts surfaced, but he was exonerated as a former president. More than 3,000 people were killed and some 37,000 others tortured for political reasons during Pinochet's rule. Egypt has sent fuel to the Gaza Strip to help alleviate an energy crisis that's left the Palestinian enclave's 2 million residents with less than 3 hours of electricity per day. The delivery, a sign of improved relations between Hamas and Egypt after years of friction, was the first official import of Egyptian diesel to Gaza since Hamas took over the enclave in 2007. Taufik Nouami, Hamas's internal security chief, said the shipment could be followed by more later this week. Fuel from Gaza used to be smuggled through tunnels, many of them now destroyed by Cairo. Gaza's power plant has been offline for 2 months due to a tax dispute between the Palestinian Authority based in the Israeli-occupied West Bank and Gaza's Hamas Islamist rulers.
The number of terrorist attacks across Western Europe linked to the so-called Islamic State group are on the rise. The UK, France and Belgium appear to be the countries most targeted by IS detachments or solo operatives. All three are actively involved in the anti-Daesh coalition in both Syria and Iraq. The US is by far and away the largest contributor, though France is second in terms of military strikes and third in the number of resources, with naval, air and ground forces deployed. Britain is also active, with special forces in situ. Belgium contributes a vessel and aircraft, but as the symbolic capital of Europe, Brussels is vulnerable. Since 2014, Daesh has been under the coalition cosh. Its caliphate straddling Iraq and Syria has been eroded, and now the endgame is in sight, with Mosul close to capitulation and Raqqa under assault. The jihadists are exporting their doctrine and bloody carnage across Europe to attack liberal values and behaviour. Many foreign fighters have fled the coalition assaults and returned to their countries of origin to continue the fight at home. The International Institute for the Study of Radicalisation estimates around 700 French, 500 British and 250 Belgians are radicalised and ready to wage jihad. In the hands of murderers, everyday objects become killing machines almost impossible for the security services to predict and defend against. The targets tend to be soft and symbolic: the Champs-Élysées, Borough Market, Westminster Bridge, transport hubs. The idea: to destabilise and divide, to sow hatred, distrust and retaliation.
The FBI is treating the stabbing of a police officer at Michigan's Bishop Airport in Flint as an act of terrorism. Canadian police have carried out a search at the suspect's home in Montreal. He's been named as 50-year-old Amor Fortuny. 2 others have been arrested in connection with the incident. FBI agent David Gelios said the suspect appeared to be a lone wolf attacker.
We do know Mr. Fatui entered the airport. He spent a little time on the first level. He was carrying baggage. He went into a restroom. He spent a little time in the restroom, dropped both bags and came out, pulled out a knife, yelled Allah Akbar, and stabbed Lieutenant Novell in the neck.
Officer Jeff Novell was knifed in the neck and back. It's said he managed to wrestle his attacker to the ground before helping to take him into custody. He's in a stable condition after undergoing surgery. The first funeral for a victim of the Grenfell Tower fire has taken place. Relatives of 23-year-old Mohammed al-Hajali had flown in from Syria. Hundreds of mourners gathered outside the mosque where the ceremony took place. Al-Hajali, a civil engineer student, lived on the 14th floor. He became separated from his brother, who managed to escape. At least 79 people died in the disaster. Britain's Prime Minister has apologised for state failures after the blaze.
The support on the ground for families in the initial hours was not good enough. People were left without belongings, without roofs over their heads, without even basic information about what had happened, what they should do, and where they could seek help. That was a failure of the state, local and national, to help people when they needed it most. As Prime Minister, I apologise for that failure.
There's been widespread anger at the slow response from the authorities. On Wednesday, some marched with anti-government protesters demanding justice for Grenfell. However, support groups accused demonstrators of hijacking residents' grief for political purposes.
Madame Nicole Belloubet.
Announcing France's second government lineup since President Macron took office. A wave of resignations meant this was a bigger reshuffle than originally planned. Relative unknowns like Nicole Belloubet make their entrance. The law expert becomes Justice Minister, replacing political veteran François Bayrou, who quit earlier in the day. He and other key centrist allies of the new president, all from the Modem party, have stepped down amid a judicial investigation into claims it misused EU parliamentary funds. Businesswoman Florence Parly, previously in a socialist government, gets the defence portfolio. She takes over from Sylvie Goulard, the first Modem minister to throw in the towel. Another Modem figure who's gone, European Affairs Minister Marielle de Sarnez. Those concerned in the scandal deny wrongdoing, as does President Macron's right-hand man Richard Ferrand, who's quit his ministerial post in a separate financial scandal. After winning the presidency in May amid pledges to clean up politics, this is not the start the new head of state would have wanted, but his new team continues to bring together people from the left, right and centre, women and men, including many from outside politics.
Belgian police have arrested 4 people over the attempted bomb attack at Brussels Central Station. It follows a series of house searches in the Belgian capital late on Wednesday. A judge ordered 4 raids in different Brussels districts, including Molenbeek, a known hotbed of radicalized Muslims, according to prosecutors. It's also home to Moroccan alleged bomber Oussama Zariou, who's suspected of supporting Islamic State militants. His suitcase bomb, which partially exploded, was later found to contain nails and gas bottles.
Televidente, non sta vai un break e ora non sta back e deporte con nostro collega Carl Reuter.
Situada net banda de supermercado allá en Zelandia te ofrece turcos para lo que te trata obra de mão.